So for those of you who are here early and on time, thank you so much. And this evening, I'm going to talk to you about how to create and maintain great business relationships. So I just gave you my welcome and thank you. And let me tell you a bit about who I am. So my name is Michelle Lowe, and my company is actually called JoySpot Limited. And under the umbrella of JoySpot Limited is JoySpot Coaching. So what do I do? Well, now I am a coach and I do relationship coaching. Now, this is coaching whether you are in a personal relationship, a loving relationship, or family relationship, or whether you're a business relationship. And part of that is one-to-one coaching, online and group coaching. I also am an author, published author. I wrote in an anthology, which was published in 2015, I believe, and also a co-author of another book that was published in 2017. And you can find out more about those books on my website, which is www.joyspot.co.uk. I also do vision board workshops and more, so you'll learn more about what I do. But before I go into what I do now, I just want to give you a little bit of a background to understand why I thought it was important to bring this webinar to you. So back in the 1980s, I moved to the US, to New York specifically. And while I was there, I attended New York University and got a degree, well, got a really specialized degree, but the focus was on marketing. And after I completed my degree, which took me 8 years part-time, I might add, because I worked full-time at the same time, I ended up falling into investment banking. And my first job was as a corporate event planner. And so for the past 20 years that the last 20 years that I lived there, I was a corporate event planner in various investment banks. Credit Suisse was one and UBS was the last. And at the end of my time there, I co-led a team of 26 event planners, and my territory was North, South, and Central America. So why do I bring this to your attention? Well, one of the things that everybody here on this call knows, if you've been to America, it's the land of customer service. I mean, they know how to take care of their clients, and it's really, really great to see in effect. The main example most people think about is probably tipping, because that's so popular there. But there are lots of other ways that people create and maintain great business relationships. And I'm going to share a few of those tips with you tonight. So what am I going to cover tonight? Well, I'm going to look at a little bit of self-love. And you're probably thinking, what does self-love have to do with business relationships? But it's really about feeling worthy about what you're doing. And, you know, really being proud of your business and how you're achieving it and that you're strong in what you do. The next thing we'll look at is your brand, because you are your brand. And we'll also look at your team. Do you have a team around you? And it's not as straightforward as that sounds. I don't mean literally a team of employees. I mean a team. So we'll get into that a bit later, excuse me. And where do you find these clients? That's the next topic. Then we'll look at gratitude, getting to know your clients. Communication is key, and complaints and issues, how we handle them. And last but not least, how you can learn more. So let's start with the first one, self-love. So I know you're probably thinking, what self-love got to do with it? Well, it's really about your business, because I think quite a few people on here are probably small business owners. So those are the people I'm talking to specifically at this point. So do you believe you deserve the business that you're getting? You know, sometimes we don't think we're worthy of it. Oh, you know, I don't know if I should charge that much because will somebody buy my product? Or, you know, somebody said the other day they didn't like what I did, so maybe I shouldn't do this. But if you have a business and you believe you're great at what you do, then guess what? You're great at what you do. And you're doing it yourself. So just get on with it and, you know, make it happen. So try to delete any negative talk that comes into your head. And it often happens not just because we're having a bad day, but because usually somebody said something to upset us, or we've already had limited beliefs in the back of our heads just lurking around. So now having one bad day or one bad situation could throw you off. And you've got to treat it like a bike. Just get back on when you have those bad days. And there are lots of other little things that you can do to really believe you're doing well in your business and to keep yourself up. So meditation is always great. For those that you know how to do it, it's great. Some of you don't. Affirmations, telling yourself great positive things. I am this, I'm amazing, I'm great at what I do, I can help my clients, I can serve them great. All those kind of things are wonderful. And keep positive images and words around you. Really important. Maybe you have them on your phone, maybe you have it in a calendar, you have it on your desk, your favorite phrase. Just, if you're having an unhappy or a bad moment, it's great to pick yourself up in that way. Because I want you to remember that success is always in the palm of your hand. And like Nike says, just do it. So you are your brand. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is that part of your brand, obviously, well, you are the brand. So a big part of that is the way you attract people. And people like to see how people are dressed. So one of the things that's really important, and I'm not talking about wearing a suit, even though this image below depicts the suit. I'm just talking about looking smart. When you go to see a client or you meet a client for the first time, you always want to put your best foot forward. So if you're a photographer, for example, you'll probably be casually dressed, and that's fine. But make sure you look good in whatever you're wearing. Make sure you look sharp so that, you make an entrance and they're like, oh, who's this? This is great, Do you have your elevator pitch down? It's really important to be able to describe what you do in 60 seconds. And I know many of us struggle with that, but it's really, really an important one. Great to know that. Are you confident about your product? Can you tell somebody, in a click of a finger what your product's about, how it works, how it can help them, why it would be important for them to do business with you? This is all part of your brand. And other things that you may have, a mission statement. You may have not put a business plan together, so maybe you don't have a mission statement, but it's great because maybe you need to apply for a grant sometime down the road, or you want to go into business with somebody else, you want to collaborate, and they want to know what your plans are. What's your business plan? What's your statement? What's your outline? Do you have one? So these are all parts of basic things for your brand. And do you have a plan for 2019? If you don't, get on the phone, go online, look for a business coach, get someone to help you get your plan for the year. Because by planning your year, then you know what obstacles you have to get over and what things you need to do to continue growing your business. And do you have a team? I mentioned that earlier. And as a team, I don't necessarily mean, a team in your office, but a team of people that really support you. So have you got your business registered already? You have a good accountant, maybe a designer to design your stuff, a printer, coaches, as I mentioned before. Do you have your branding up to scratch? Do you have a website? Maybe you don't need a website. Maybe you just need an Instagram page or Facebook page. Social media. Are you on all the relevant social media platforms that you need to be on? I believe 3 is what you really need to be on to stay on top of things. Do you have a business card that's really well created with a real nice logo? Do you have a logo? I mean, you should have all these things. And the rest, I don't need to go into them. These are general things that you should have, but just making sure you have that team to back you up on all the things that you need to do. And a big one is actually collecting money. A lot of us are really uncomfortable when payments are late and collecting money. We struggle with that. And I have a little tip for you on that. It's really great to create an email address with somebody else's name. So you could have accounting@joyspot.co.uk as an example, or fred@joyspot.co.uk. And so when you're sending a question or querying about an invoice that hasn't been paid, it's coming from Fred. It's coming from accounting. It's not coming from you. So you don't have to feel uncomfortable about asking for money that's owed to you, which you shouldn't feel uncomfortable about, but sometimes we do feel awkward. So that's just a little tip for you. So where do I find clients? Where to find clients? Well, guess what? A lot of clients are right in your back pocket, as I like to call it. So do you have a database? And your database may not be formal. It may be an Excel spreadsheet. It may not be Infusionsoft, or it may not be some other high-end database that you pay for. But do you have a list of clients that you use regularly? Because if you do, it's a great source and you need to use it. I recommend that you go back 1 to 5 years and you maybe pick every, a couple of months, you go through a couple of months of each year and say, who have I not done business with in the last January, February, and March of 2017, let's say. And then you go through that list and you reach out to these people, reach out to your clients, send them an email, pick up the phone and call them. Hey, how you doing? We did this blah, blah, blah on this date. Can you help? Do you need any help? Is there anything else I can do for you? Or, you were really happy with the service I provided on this date. Would you be interested in doing something else? I have this new offer. I have this new thing I'm doing. Go back to your database. It's a wealth of information. And if you can take the time to go through it and really get back to people, it's really, really helpful. So a database is really important. I was speaking with someone the other day and I suggested to her that she has a product that she sends out every Christmas. And why wait until Christmas to start recommending and looking for new clients, but go back to your database of just the year before and reach out to them and say in October, for example, hey guys, I'm letting you know, first of all, as soon as you are my prior customers, that I'm reserving this product for you for Christmas. Please let me know when you'd like to put your order in. And a lot of times that takes the headache and the sting out of somebody thinking about, oh, what am I going to do for this Christmas? I don't know what I want to make. I don't know what I want to buy. Somebody gets that, they're like, oh, great, I forgot about that. I forgot that they did this product. This would be really good. I could do this again. And this year, maybe I'll order 4 or 5. And I suggested to her that maybe she give a discount. That's always a great way to get people on board. So we'll talk more about that later. Referrals. Referrals are golden. They're golden. You can never have too many referrals. So I recommend highly every time you end a meeting or a session or some time with, depending on your business, with a client, ask the client for a referral. There's nothing wrong with it. Just say to them, I know you had a great experience. I would love if you could give me your referral. All they can say is yes or no. Networking. This is one of my favorites, networking. I think everyone should belong to 1, 2, or 3 networking groups. And let me tell you why. Number 1, create awareness. People know that you exist. They know that you have a business. They see you. They hear about what you're doing. You're live. You're not just on a Facebook page or on a piece of paper or on a flyer that they picked up. So networking is really great for that. And I know some people struggle with that because they're uncomfortable with, as somebody told me the other day, I don't like the small talk. I'm not good at chit chat. And that may be true. But again, if you have your elevator pitch ready, you can use that. Just go up and introduce yourself. Hey, my name is so-and-so. I do such and such. Great, great thing to do. And networking, depending on the groups and the areas that you go to, you could be touching a cross-section of businesses and people. And remember, the beauty of networking, especially if you're consistent and people see you all the time, people buy from people they like, but people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And if I see you every week or every month at the same networking event, and I start talking to you and I start seeing samples of what you do, or I get to know more about what you're offering, I might trust you and want to give you business or refer business to you. So I really think networking is great. And I'm happy to share some names of them if people are interested afterwards. And Marketing Day. What's Marketing Day, you're probably thinking? Well, I love Marketing Day because for me, I pick one day of the week where I'm going to be networking. And I usually make that my Marketing Day or half day. So let me give you an example. Let's say I go to a BNI networking event at 6:45 in the morning. And when that's finished, probably around 9, I might do a one-to-one after that with somebody that I've met at the group or somebody that I'd planned to meet anyway, and I scheduled it right afterwards. Then I might go home and go on social media and post some things. Or I might sit there and update my closed private group and market something else that's happening. I mean, use that as a day of getting out there and marketing. Maybe go and visit a client that day. There's just so many things you can do, but what tends to happen, I find, is that we get stuck in the minutiae of the day-to-day. So we're dealing with all the grunt work. We're just working and working and working, and we don't make time to market our business and find clients. And trust me, you're not going to find any clients sitting in your office doing grunt work. That's not where it really happens. Unless you've been in business a long time and you're just getting consistent referrals, then you're great and you're probably not on this call. Social media, number 5, like I mentioned to you before, social media, getting on those platforms. Maybe that's the day that you start posting things. On Facebook, you can schedule posts. So you can maybe schedule something that's coming up. I'm not saying it's easy, but you've got to carve out that time. And it's great if you can just get that on your calendar and make sure you have a marketing day, or I said half a day every week. It will really serve you well. And advertising, how about, different types of advertising? Get on the radio, talk to your local radio stations or internet stations. I was on a radio station this Saturday, oneharmonyradio.com, talking about my business. That was free. Didn't cost me a dime. And I have 3 potential clients coming out of it. So, ask around. Doing a webinar like I'm doing here. Whether or not I get business from this, I'm creating awareness. That I exist. That I have a product and you're probably interested in it. So this is great. And print. Print's a little expensive, but if you can afford to put an ad in a newspaper or magazine, that's another option. Not a typical option these days, but it is an option. And freelancers or VAs. I mean, you have Fiverr.com, and there's another one, I've forgotten the name right now, it's just slipped me, where you can just go online and find somebody to do things for you that you don't have time to do, and you just pay them a small fee. Now, Fiverr.com or Fiverr.co.uk, and that's Fiverr with 1 V and 2 R's, I believe. They say they charge you a $5, but usually it costs you a little bit more. But, maybe you need someone to do a little bit of branding for you, create something for your Facebook page, or create something that you need for a flyer or whatever. Fiverr.com is a great place to go. But delegate that out to somebody who has the time to do it, and that frees you up to go out and meet clients and spend time with them. A VA is great, a virtual assistant. Maybe you choose that day where you're doing your marketing and you send everything to your VA that needs to get that done that day that you don't have time to do. Now, sometimes it takes a while to find somebody that you trust, and you have to be patient, because sometimes, especially if you're using someone from overseas, they don't always understand what your goal is. But by taking the time out in the beginning to train them and get them to know what your expectations are and being patient to getting it right, can really serve you well. A VA can really help you out, and again, free up that time. And just, number 8, good old friends and family. Don't be afraid to ask them. You'd be surprised who they know. I mean, some of us, I know your parents have no idea what you do, especially if you're online-based business. They probably can't get their head around it, so that's fine. But I'm sure your friends, family, other people that that you can just say, if you know somebody that would need my services, would you be open to recommending them? There may be a referral fee in it for you. So those are just 8 areas where you can find clients without really going out of your way. Gratitude. So this one I'm really big on. And I feel like in the UK, we're really good at saying thank you. We're great. We have great manners. We love to say please and thank you. And that's wonderful. But it's really important to say and show your appreciation in a meaningful way. And I'll tell you more about that afterwards. But I think gratitude goes a long way. Once you've received a deal, or you've closed a deal, or you've got a new client on board, it's really important for them to know that you appreciate getting the business. And they'll relay that to other people they know. So that's always a good thing. And are you being perceived how you want to feel as a partner or supporter of their business? So when I say that is, when you go on board and you start doing business with somebody, you're starting a partnership and they're helping you with your business. So do they see you as a partner? Do they see you as an integral part of their business? Do they see you improving something in their life or making their lives easier so that their business is easier? This is what I'm talking about being perceived or perception. Getting to know your client. This is a skill I learned really, really well when I lived in the US. I mean, it's all there about getting to know your client, finding out what their needs are, and filling filling that hole or filling that need. What do you want to know about your clients? Because this is the beginning of creating a great business relationship. So here's some simple tips for you. What are your listening skills like? Do you listen, or do you perch on the fence waiting for an opportunity to speak when your client's talking to you? Do you really listen to what they're saying? Are you really hearing what their concerns are, what they're trying to achieve, their goals? Or are you just busy thinking ahead of, yeah, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that? Really listen to what their concerns are and ask questions. Ask open-ended questions to find out what it is they're trying to achieve. And don't be in a race to say you can fulfill that. Maybe what you need to say is, yeah, I can see definitely some synergies there. Let me go back to my office, or let me go back to the table and come up with some ideas or some samples of what we could do for you. Let them know that you're really taking the time to think through coming up with a solution for them. And do you know details about them? And of course, this isn't going to happen the first time you've done business with them, but maybe the second or third time you've done business, you can try to get to know them a little bit, be a bit familiar. How's your family? Or, do you have any kids? Are you married? Obviously if it's appropriate. Or their employees, whenever I call, Sally's such a great person. She answers the phone and she's always in a good mood. I wonder what you're doing over there to make everyone so happy. Make a little joke. Get to know your clients. And also when you're having these dialogues, find out what opportunities may be coming up, which could create more business for you. Ask them, what are you doing next? What's your next project? How does that look? When is that going to happen? Could you give me a call when you're thinking about sourcing that out to other companies? Really, really important to ask for the business. Many of us are guilty of not asking for the business. We just hear what we hear and then we're just sort of uncomfortable with it. But ask for the business. The worst they could say is no. But they might say, oh, let me think about it. Or, yeah, sure, I'll give you a call. I'll let you know when it's happening. And you stay in touch. Ask for testimonials. Ask for referrals. Ask for leads. Nothing wrong with that. If you've done a great job and they're happy with the job that you've done, they'll be what I call a torchbearer. They can't wait to tell the world how great you are. They'll be running around with that torch like at the Olympics. Oh, she was so amazing. He was great. He delivered on time. He delivered early. He was great. I had a problem. He resolved it right away. He was great. You want torchbearers, and those people will serve you well. Let me tell you, you need 3 or 4 of those people anytime you're doing something, and they'll be ready to back you. So think about who are the people that you've done great business with, that you're really proud of, and that they're really proud of the work that you did with them. And ask for testimonials, ask for referrals, ask for leads. I strongly, strongly encourage that. So, communication is key. As I've said here, follow up, follow up, follow up. I'm just going to repeat it again. Follow up, follow up, follow up. When you meet a client or when you meet a new person that could be a potential client, don't forget to follow up. If you take their business card, don't forget to follow up. If you take their phone number, don't forget to follow up. I think you're hearing me, right? Follow up, follow up, follow up. And call your clients. Yeah, it's great to send an email. It's great to send a text. But pick up the phone and call. Doesn't hurt. The other day I had somebody that I've been trying to meet for about 4 months now. I think it's about 4 months. I met her at a networking event and she was so excited. I really want to do business with you. I have a law firm and I have clients that are getting divorced all the time. We send them to mediation. It's not working. I'd love to meet with you and see if you can help us. I was like, great. Let's have a conversation. We kept missing each other. Then Christmas came. Then January came. In the beginning of the month, I went through my tickler file. I said, oh, you know what? We need to catch up. So I just picked up the phone and called. And immediately she said, you know what? Let's do this. I'm so sorry. I've been swamped. All the other stuff. Booked me right in. I'll be meeting with her next week. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. We've sort of moved away from that because of social media. We've gotten so comfortable with dealing with everyone online and technology, and we've forgotten about the human touch. Human touch goes a long way. And thank you cards. This is one of my favorite things to do. Not emailing a thank you, but printing a thank you card or buying a thank you card and just writing a really nice note. It can be as simple as thank you for the business, signed Michelle, signed whoever. I think that if somebody receives a thank you card, they're really happy. They feel quite chuffed. Because guess what? Most of the time when we get something in the mail, or in the post, I should say, it's usually a bill, right? And who wants to open a bill? None of us. We stack it up and then we get to it, as, when we have to. But if you get a card, you're like, well, who's this from? You open it up, you read it, and you're touched, because that means that person took the time out to buy a card, probably walk to the post office if they don't have an in-house postal service, and then took the time to write the note and get it out to you. So that's a big deal, and we don't do enough of that. Handwritten note. People get really excited when they get them from me. They keep them on their desk, they put them on the wall, they love it. So I think that's great. I see a raised hand. I'm not sure if I can answer your question at the moment. I don't know. Miles, are you able to unmute the person? See if I can answer the question. I think it was Stephanie I saw pop up.
Yes, it's me. Hello.
Hello, Stephanie.
Good evening. Sorry I'm joining you a bit late.
That's okay.
How are you this evening?
Good, good. Did you have a question?
Well, not yet. I just want to kind of listen and kind of catch up first.
Okay, you raised your hand, so we turned your microphone on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. What we'll do is I'll answer all the questions at the end, if that's okay with you.
Okay, sure.
Fabulous, fabulous. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Miles, for that. And so the last part of that was keeping in touch emails. And I think they're really great to do. Again, every 3 or 4 months, just go through your database of names and just look through your list. Is there somebody there that you wanted to do business with and it didn't happen? Or they wanted to do business with you, but they couldn't afford it at that time, or something else came up. You never know why someone hasn't responded to you. So just send out a little email with maybe an image or something funny, or just something, reaching out to them saying, hey, I thought about you today, just wondering how things are. Love to know if you'd like to have a 5-minute chat. Maybe we can find out more about where you are, if I can help you. And you may not be able to help them in that moment, and that's fine. But I love to give people tips when I call them, or just help them out, because they'll remember you. And if and when they're ready, they will come back to you. So it's about adding value. It's not always about making the sale at that moment or that day or that week or month. Sometimes you'll get business from 2 or 3 years ago when the person calls you, like, who's this? I don't remember who this is. But they remembered you because of something that you said that was really pertinent or poignant, that really touched them, and they thought, oh, I really want to do business with this person. So I really advocate thank you cards and keeping in touch emails. So communication is definitely key. And one of the things I like to do, I call it KOTR. Keep them on your radar. Keep them on your radar. So what does that mean? Well, there's things that you can do to keep a client on your radar that may not be an email, and it may not be a thank you card. So let's give an example. You've done business with this person once, you know that they loved you, but they haven't come back to you again. You sent a couple of emails, you left a couple of messages, and they haven't really called. So I like to do what I call, stepping it up a notch. And you can do some really effective things that are on a small scale. So gifting, for example, you could schedule a client visit, or just say, I'm going to be in your area, typical sales pitch. I'm going to be in your area. Can I pop by and see you for 10 minutes? And you can bring a goodie bag. Could be something, freebie, a nice pen, some product samples if that's what you do. Maybe nothing to do with your business. Maybe a cup of coffee, or maybe some donuts or a cupcake. Everyone tends to like cupcakes or something sweet, except me. I'm always the exception to the rule. But, something small. So when you go, they'll think, oh, that's nice. Obviously they know you're here to do business, so why not make it sweet while you're there? One of my favorite examples of this was when I was an event planner, actually. And I had a restaurant that I used to do private dinners in. And always used to do a lot of private dining, sometimes 50 people, sometimes 10 people, just depended on my internal client, what they wanted. And there were a bunch of restaurants I had a list of that I'd go down that list and I'd check them for space. And, I'd done business with them, so I know what I wanted. But one particular day, this restaurant person, I didn't really love their restaurant, thought the food was okay, service was okay. I just didn't use them much. So she came by to find out why I wasn't doing business with her anymore. And I was taken aback. I was like, oh, so no, I just want to see what we're doing wrong so we could do it right. So I just said to her all the things I said, business was the service was a little mediocre, the food was a little mediocre. And she asked me, well, what is it that you'd like to see on the menu? What are others doing that we're not doing? What is it that my staff isn't doing that you'd like us to do? I said, oh, okay, let me tell you. So I told her, she wrote it all down. She was like, great, okay, I'll come back to you. And she came back to me, not in a phone call or an email, but she sent me a package, a gift. And when I opened the gift, it was a packet of Post-its. I was thinking, well, what am I supposed to do with that? A packet of Post-its. But I opened it. And when I opened it, the top Post-it said, every time you want to book space, think of me. I can't remember her name now, but let's say Sally at Prime Steak Restaurant. And there was her phone number. And this was all on a Post-it. But guess what? I was impressed. So I took the top of that Post-it off. I stuck it on the front of my desk by my phone. And every single time I needed to find space, especially last minute or in a hurry, I called her. Because guess what? She was right in my radar. I couldn't miss her. She was right by my phone. So this is just a nice little tip that you could use as well. Another one's discounts. Everybody loves a discount. Please tell me anyone you know that doesn't like a discount or a sale. Offer 10% off, 5% off. Offer somebody a discount in the mail or at Christmas time, Easter's coming up, Mother's Day, Father's Day, wrap it around the holidays. Summer holidays coming up, your summer vacation, you might need 10% off this before you go on your trip. Just think about ways to create interest in your product. Referral fees, I talked about that earlier. Referral fees are great business, I think. And maybe it's very American, but I love it. I think it's a great incentive. And again, the people I call the torchbearers, they're wonderful people. Now, you bring 5 people to my next event, or you bring 5 new clients and your next session is free. Let's say you're a personal trainer, you bring me 2 clients, your next 2 personal training sessions are free, maybe. I don't know, you have to decide what your bottom line is and what you want to spend and what you can afford to give away. But referral fees go a long way. And it may be just something small. It may be, every time you refer somebody to me and I do business with them, you get a £20 Amazon card gift, Amazon gift card. I don't see anyone who's going to say no, thank you. Coffees, dinners, lunch. Great time to do business. Why not schedule a meeting over lunch? Why not schedule a meeting over dinner if you have a really good relationship with them? I mean, you may not want to spend dinner with somebody you don't like, but maybe they're a big enough client that it's worth you forking out, quite a bit to have a dinner with them. What about coffees? Just meeting them for a coffee, or as I put below, visits. When you're visiting them, bring some coffees along, find out what they like. This is all about getting to know your client. Hey, I'm coming over, John. What do you like? Do you drink? I know you're yogi. Do you do herbal tea? Should I bring you a herbal tea? I'm right here in Starbucks. I'm picking up a coffee myself. Just make it more comfortable, a bit more casual, not so formal. Still business-like, but make it a way of getting to know your client. You're learning a little bit every time you meet with them, every time you visit them. You're getting to know your client a little bit more. And on a larger scale, and this would really be for a larger organization. But for example, what we did at the investment bank, a lot of dinners and events. And a lot of people thought I was a party planner. They thought I just, created these fun parties for people to have fun. And of course, yes, that's part of it. But the larger events, which were conferences, maybe 2,000 people at a conference, at the end of the day, it was all about our ROI, return on investment. The bankers wanted that room packed with clients, because if they spent $500,000 on an event, they knew that if they got one great client out of that conference, that would pay for the event and then some. So, you may not be able to do anything on that scale, but maybe you can do an event. I'm doing a networking event in the next few weeks. That's an opportunity for you to do something, or do a small talk, or have clients over and give them a freebie chat about what you do. I mean, there's just lots of different ways to communicate what you're doing and still making the client get to know you better, and also, maintaining your clients. And this is what this is all about. This is just keeping them on your radar so they remember who you are, and keeping them on side and making sure they don't go to your competitor. And that was the big thing with investment banking. We were afraid that we'd lose our clients to Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, who are no longer around, Morgan Stanley, Barclays. So if they did an event, we wanted to do it bigger and better. If they did it in one place, we wanted to do it in the opposite place. And we always wanted to go to the newest location, make it new, make it fresh, make it something people talked about. So when they went to work to the office the next day, all they were talking about was our great event they went to the night before. This is how you maintain clients. Keep them on side, keep them informed, keep them interested in what you're doing. If you have something new that's happening, maybe you do a product launch, maybe you hold an event and you invite your clients, you just do a cocktail party and have them over, or your top 10 clients. Whatever you think would be attractive for your business is what you need to do, because it really is about your business. Complaints and issues. So this is one that a lot of us shy away from. And I was on a call last night and we were discussing it. For me, with complaints and issues, I think it's great to just be honest if you mess up and fess up. I did this incorrectly. I'm so sorry. How can I fix it for you? Immediately. Even if you know that you're in the wrong, just try to stay in the good books and correct it. Sometimes we are wrong. A lot of times we aren't wrong. A lot of times we didn't do anything wrong, but the client feels that they've been hard done by, and you want to make sure that your client doesn't go around bad-mouthing you, because you don't need that. So I highly recommend that you put your fires out immediately. Try to find a resolution. Make it a win-win situation. So if you look at this image on the right, this is one of my favorite things I've seen in a long time. This is from a pizza shop, and they have this sign outside their restaurant, and it's been there for months. And basically it says, "Come and try the worst pizza one guy on TripAdvisor has ever had in his life." I thought it was brilliant. They took a negative comment that had been on TripAdvisor and turned it into a positive. I mean, I think if that's not brilliant advertising, I don't know what is. So I love this sign. I love it. And that's what you need to do. If you have a negative situation, think about, how can I turn it around? How can I make the pot sweeter for this person? It might be a discount. It might be free delivery on the next thing. It may be a free training course. I don't know. You just have to think a little bit out of the box and see how you can make the customer happy. Because what you really want, especially in this day and age of being online, is making sure people are happy. And the other thing about being online is, someone badmouths you online, be very careful how you respond, because you cannot take it down. So just be really mindful of what you say, and do not get into an argument online. It will not serve you well. It will not be good for your business. So be careful about what you say when you're online, especially in print. So how can you learn more now? Well, you can join my closed Facebook group called Meandering the Seasons of Relationships. And I also have here in Leicester, coming up on March 28th, a Mind, Body and Spirit networking event. And that will be for people who are professionals in those fields, and also people who are interested in learning more about exercise, coaching, Reiki, all sorts of things. So I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be really exciting. I'm doing it in a vegan cafe called Prana, and they've got great food and great drinks. So if you're in the Midlands, I'd love if you can join us. And if you're outside of the Midlands and you feel like coming up here on a Thursday night, that would be great. Other ways you can join me, well, as I mentioned earlier, I do one-to-one coaching. And I do different packages. Sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. So it all depends on what your needs are. I have online group coaching programs, and this is for personal and business. And I actually have an online program coming up in the next 2 months. So we'll see more about that on my website. And I do vision board workshops. I do vision board workshops for the general public. And I also do it privately for teenage 16 to 19 years old. And I do lots of other things. I write as well. So if you're interested in what you heard tonight and you'd like to contact me, my name is Michelle Lowe, as you know. Here's my telephone number. If you have a pen, it's 077 03 50 6070. Great phone number, by the way. And my email address is michelle@joyspot, joyspot.co.uk. I'll repeat that for you. michelle@joyspot.co.uk. And my website is www.joyspot.co.uk. So, didn't mean to do that. Go back to that screen. So, does anybody have any questions?
Michelle, thank you very much for a very enlightening session there, presentation. I've certainly been scribbling notes, and I will be putting some of your ideas into practice. However, if you have a question for Michelle, can you please put your hand up? In fact, you know what? I'm going to unmute everybody. So if you've got some background noise, please either turn it down or mute yourself. And if you've got a question, now's a good time to ask. You're all unmuted. Any questions?
It looks as though you stunned us all into silence, Michelle. The presentation was just so wonderful that now we don't have anything to say. Thank you. Thank you for the excellent presentation.
It's Aurelia. I have a question.
Hi, Aurelia. How are you?
Hi. Very well. Thank you very much. I absolutely love it.
Oh.
I feel like there was so much information for me to digest.
Yes.
So I have a question. Will I be able to listen it again, or listen every time when I stuck with something?
I think, Miles, are you able to?
The answer will be yes. Give me a few days and this will be available online. And everyone on this call, I have your... Someone's in their kitchen.
Sorry, that
Not
was
me.
me. That was me. It's Euphemia. I got on the call quite late. I apologize. Sorry for the background.
That's okay.
I've
I won't
missed
charge
most of
you.
it.
If you mute yourself, that'd be wonderful.
Thank you.
I will mute you. If you want to come in, you put your hand up. Yes, I'll have that ready, and you can be able to. For those of you whose emails I have, I will post you the link, and so you can actually view it again.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. Because it's a very long. I tried to record it, but I was late, so it will be very helpful. Thank you very much, Michelle. It's absolutely lovely, and I really hope I will meet you in one of the networking events sometime soon. So
We'll make it happen.
yes.
So if you have a general question that you kind of scribbled a note but you couldn't remember, just send me an email. I'm happy to answer it.
Oh, I have about 1,000. Yeah. I'll pick the one.
That sounds like a coaching session to me, not a question and answer. No problem. Just let me know. We'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy. You have your hand up. Do you want to speak?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Oh, that was a really great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
I would like to watch it again, listen to it again, because my shopping came. I know these things. You know the evening thing on March the 28th?
The networking event, yes.
Yes, the networking event. Is that for people like myself that are a therapist, and we can come and network and share of knowledge, or how is that working?
Absolutely. It's exactly for that reason, for the professionals to come and talk about what they have to offer and people that are interested. So because I do what I do, and
Yeah.
you know, I actually know Kathy, so we know each other, but one of the things that's great is that I find that we're all sort of all over the place, and I hear people saying, oh, I'd love to get some Reiki, or I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Or, I'm interested in this, but I don't really know where to go. And so I thought, why not create a forum where people of like minds can meet? And it's not just for people who are interested in that. What if you're a designer and you want to come along and meet people who want to have brochures made of their mind, body, and spirit services? That's also great. So it's for all sorts of professionals, whether you're just looking for business in general, whether you're looking for people within that industry or within our industry, I would say. It's for everyone. So please spread the word. And right now I have it on Just Tickets. I just put it up on Eventbrite tonight, and I have it on my personal website as well under joyspot.co.uk/events.
Okay, will it be on your Facebook page as well?
And I posted it on Facebook today as well.
Oh, cool. Yes, I will share that.
I'm not sure if it's on my JoySpot page, but if it's not, I'll put it up right afterwards. I think it's on my personal page, but I'll check.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It sounds really good. I really want to be there. Yeah.
Today was my marketing day, but obviously I didn't get it all done. So
yeah. Oh.
Anybody else with a question? Was there anything that I maybe mentioned that you weren't clear about or wanted me to go over? Hello, whoever that is.
Oh, that's Jake. Just say love you to me. Oh, spreading the love.
No more questions?
I can't think of any. I think you've...
No, not you. I just meant in general. Anybody else online?
Yeah.
Out of interest, one thing that came up today was that you said, Michelle, that you have one day where you just do marketing, that you have a marketing day.
Yes.
Is that the practice of anyone on this call? Does anyone do that already? Let's have a day where this is just marketing, irrespective of what you do in your business. You just have a day for marketing. Does anyone do such a thing?
No, really.
No,
I
no.
do.
Ava Dalgetty, your hands up. Go ahead.
I do. Well, I don't have just one day, but I do set aside time. Are you hearing me? Yeah.
Yes,
We can hear you very well.
Yeah, I do set aside time for marketing.
When do you do that?
And Michelle, well done for good. I came in late, but what I heard was quite very good. So I also, as you know, I'm not in the spirit, mind, body, and spirit world, but I'm definitely still interested in the event.
Fantastic.
And probably the services within that that sort of group, or should I say the word group? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do set aside some time for marketing.
And how much time do you set aside? Is it a specific amount of time, or do you just say every day I'm going to do some marketing at this time of the day?
Well, I do set aside some time. I don't always. Sometimes I go over, or I depending on the interruptions. But I do set aside time most days. Yeah, or at least I set aside time to work on me. Either I do something early in the morning for like personal development, or I do a bit of reading, or a bit of learning, because I'm in the marketing arena anyway. Right. So I do have to keep abreast with what is happening. Excellent. So I do I do set aside a bit of time for learning, a bit of time for client work, a bit of time,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always enough because you're doing other projects at the same time. But yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a plan. Whether it always works is another thing, but yeah.
But at least you have one, because many people don't. So kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I was trying to get across in this, that, many of us think that if we stay at home and we put stuff on social media and we just, plug away at that, we'll get clients. And you will get some clients, or you will get a lot of clients, but there's another side of there's other ways to create awareness, and a lot of your clients are right in front of you, just don't think about it. So, you know, I really encourage people to move away from the work and set aside some time to really focus on, where are my clients? Is it on social media only? Or is it at a networking meeting? Or is it a client that I saw 3 years ago that I did a really great project for, and I'd like to do another great project for them?
But it depends, in terms of being a social media, it's definitely not only on social media. So just social media is more about building the relationship or gaining exposure, depending on your goal. So, I mean, even though I'm in the social media strategies as such, I still do a lot of offline marketing, because I'm aware that, you know, not all my clients are online.
Exactly.
I still need to build a relationship in both arenas. So
exactly. There's also a certain segment of the market that you have that maybe, I mean, it depends on what your demographics are, but if you have a group of people that are actually older, but they still spend money, they have disposable income, but they're on social media, or they're not comfortable with it, or they don't want to deal with it. It doesn't matter.
Well, those are exactly my clients. So I need to be actually off social media some of the time.
Right. So what you guys will see sometimes are people advertising that they're doing a free talk or a free seminar. And part of that is to get people out and interested in seeing them, and they're talking in action. You're getting a taste of what they can deliver. And then from there, then they'll upsell you. But at that point, you'll have heard enough that you can decide, you know what, I'm interested. I want to see where this takes me, or not sure, or I'm not ready at this time. And that's okay too. But that's another great way of getting, you know, new clients, by sort of putting yourself out there. And I know a lot of us are uncomfortable with speaking in public. We're uncomfortable with being on video. I try to get over the whole video thing. Now, you know, you can't get me off it. But before, I used to be shaking with the camera, like, oh, look at that pimple on my face, that kind of thing. But once you just get comfortable with doing it and you do it more often, you don't even think about any of those things. You just think about the message you're trying to deliver.
Michelle, in terms of expectation and what you can expect social media to deliver for you, how do you set your expectations so that when you speak to, say, 2 people, you don't expect 2 people to come and jump saying, I want your product or service straight away? How do you gauge what is a good response?
Well, it's surprising, because sometimes I've done an event and I've had 2 people and both people have bought. And sometimes I've had an event with 20 people and nobody bought. So I think it's just a numbers game, and the more people that know who you are and become aware of what you do will determine, you know, how much business you'll get in the end. So I don't think there's a real formula. I just think it's consistently creating awareness, consistently being out there, consistently letting people know that you exist. Because it's part of it. The people that know you exist, why would they buy from you? And there's so much of it on social media, right? There's a barrage of ads coming up on your page and people selling you stuff, and you click on one thing and then you get 100 emails afterwards, and it's really annoying. Doesn't mean you're going to buy. So I think it's more about a numbers game, just getting out there and getting in touch with enough people, and after you touch enough people, you know, people start to buy.
Now, your title says how to create and maintain great business relationships. So essentially, once you're inside a relationship with someone, in a business relationship, then they're technically very warm, as opposed to being a cold type prospect.
Correct.
So do you have any feel for the conversion rate of talking to warm people as opposed to cold people?
Talking to warm people. I mean, I don't have numbers. I don't do math very well. So that's your department. That's not where I come from. So people who think,
okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not really great at answering that question in that way. But I would say that if you've touched somebody once and it's been a positive experience, they probably want to do business with you again. So let me give you an example. There's a boutique near where I used to live in Brooklyn, and their clothes were really nice and they were really expensive. And I'd go in there and I'd look, but I'd go in every week. I was waiting to see if they had a sale. And what's great about America, there's always a sale. They'll just create a sale for the sake of having a sale to put you in. And I would buy things, and then I'd go in and they'd say, oh, I saw you looking at that, you know, that jacket, that velvet jacket. Why didn't you buy it? And I said, oh, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit out of my price range. It wasn't so much that it was out of my price range, but I just thought it was a lot for what it was. But then they would do things like say to me, well, leave your email, because I think that was before the days of texting. Leave your email and we'll email you when we have stuff in your price range. Okay. So they would actually email me and say, hey, we just got a new delivery of silk blouses from blah, 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 blah. Come in and take a look. So I'd go in and take a look and, you know, I'd end up buying something because I really liked it. But what I liked was the way they treated me. But the relationship, which spanned over 10 years in the end, turned out to be almost like a friendship, that I would pop in on a Saturday and they'd say, oh, guess what we put aside for you? I'd say, oh, I didn't ask it. No, but we got new delivery and we know orange is your color. So we put aside this orange shirt for you. Look at it. Isn't it fabulous? Well, they knew what I liked, right? So they were taking care of me. And so I ended up doing business with them because they were just amazing. So they got to know me as a client and they got me to a place where, you know, every time I'd walk in, I literally would always come out with something or some things because they started to know what I liked, what I wanted, and they were building a little file of me. She looks good in this color. She likes this style. When we have something in this price range, contact Michelle Lowe. I don't know how they kept up with it, but they did it. So, you know, once you have somebody who's warm, who likes what you have to offer, that's half of the job done. It's just maintaining that relationship, staying in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone got any other questions they'd like to ask while we have Michelle online? I've muted a few people because you had background noises. So if you want to put your hand up, that'll be wonderful. And Michelle, do you want to remind us again about the event in Leicester?
So yes, the event is called Mind, Body and Spirit.
Can you show us that slide?
Yes, I can.
There we go. I think we just saw it. There we go.
Yeah. Our Mind, Body and Spirit networking event will be held on Thursday, March 28th at Prana Cafe in Leicester at 9:30. Sorry.
And I'm just going to say, for some people are international on this call. So for those of you, that's in the UK, in the Midlands of the UK. So if you're in Atlanta or anywhere else, then you have to give that one a miss, unless you want to fly over for it.
Exactly.
Ava, you have your hand up. Do you want to?
I just had one more question. Michelle, having attended your Vision Board event in the past, which was absolutely wonderful with the lovely Denise, you mentioned that you were looking at doing vision boards for the 16 to 19-year-old, the teenagers.
Yeah, I'm already doing it.
What age group? Oh, you're already doing. Which age? You said it's only, you're not doing like the 13-year-olds, the sort of 11, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. You know, it's quite funny because you're the second or third person in the last week who said to me, you know, do you work with teenagers? And I said, not really. That's not really what I do. But actually, I work with this organization, and I actually pitched to them a one-to-one coaching, and then they started talking about their kids. And I said, well, you know, I do this workshop for adults. I could maybe do it for your kids. And they said, yeah, come and do it once. And I've now done it 5 times. So in the last 5 months. So yeah, I guess I could do it. I just have to maybe bring it down a notch in terms of their age group, make sure that they can really grasp what I'm talking about. But yeah, absolutely. If you got a link, bring it on.
Yeah, okay. I know, I'm just thinking in terms of my own children. I mean, as you know, I got 11 and 13, 15-year-old, and they have attended sort of, just because in the past I didn't have a babysitter, they have attended sort of personal development events with me. And what I found is that they actually could be even more creative than the adults sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? And I just think, especially in this day and age, it's something that, I mean, that they could start looking at, whether it's, you know, I mean, okay, they're not going to see that far into the future just yet, but they could see as far as university and even just projecting what you want to do afterwards, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think it's a great tool, a creative tool to use with, you know, children within the secondary arena. Being a teacher as such, I think it's just a great opportunity for you to introduce.
Thanks for that tip, because I've actually approached quite a few sixth form colleges in this area and in the Midlands, and had some good feedback so far. So looks like that will be happening in the fall, in the autumn. So, but I hadn't thought about going the next level below. So thank you for that. I'll
Yeah.
see, I'm getting tips too. I love that. Thank you. I saw that Stephanie J had her hand up. Miles, are you able to unmute her?
I do apologize. I'll actually mention something. Michelle has just asked you a question on notice board, chat board. What organization have you done the vision boards with the teenagers? Which organization did you work with?
Who asked the question?
Michelle Grant, I believe.
Oh, hi, Michelle. I just wanted to address the person. The company that I work with is called Juniper Training. So they have 16 to 19-year-olds that haven't graduated from high school, but the reason is, or have left high school early, but not necessarily because they were bad kids, but maybe they come from a family where there are 6 or 8 children. Their parents are immigrants, they don't speak English, and so they haven't been able to attend school every day because they need to be home to help out with the kids, or the gas man's come in, the parent can't answer the door, can't speak to the person, that sort of thing. So, and I've had a lot of really smart kids. I mean, a lot of the kids in the classes, they speak 3 and 4 languages. They're not stupid. They just haven't been able to attend, and then thus have not been able to graduate. So it's been really interesting. There've been a few kids that were challenging. And in fact, not this month, but last month, I had one kid in the class that was sitting on the edge of the seat, didn't want to be engaged, wasn't interested. And I asked him, do you not want to be here today? He goes, no. I said, oh, okay, all right. And I just continued teaching, and then I'd ask him a question, and he'd look at me like, why are you asking me a question? And, I make it fun, and I'd say something funny, and then he'd laugh a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Or at the end, he actually made the best vision board, the one that didn't even want to be involved. So it's all about just getting people engaged, so I actually enjoy it. But sometimes they're a challenging group, but it's good because the groups tend to be large, and my ideal group size is about 10 to 12 people. I've had some classes of 20, and so that's a lot. When you've got somebody misbehaving maybe, or trying to hijack the situation, it can be a bit of a struggle. But yeah, Juniper's the one that I work with at the moment. I've got Juniper's based in the Midlands, so I'm at the Leicester branch, and I'm going to be going to Burton-on-Trent and a couple other ones later on in the year. Anybody else?
Stephanie, you have your hands up. You're on.
Yes, I did have my hand up. Thank you, Miles. Michelle, I just was interested in the title of your closed Facebook group, Meandering the Seasons of Relationships. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
I would love to tell you about my baby. That's what I call it, my baby. So, Meandering the Seasons of Relationships was born out of an unfortunate situation, which was my mum passing a year ago next month. And I just felt as though, I was going through a really tough time in my life, and I wasn't really able to coach at that point because I was emotionally distraught, of course. I had spent 18 months taking care of her with Alzheimer's dementia full time. I stopped working and just focused on her. And I had to keep busy, so I was still doing business in the background, but I wasn't physically coaching. Because when you're coaching, it takes a lot out of you, and you have to really, I want to be of service, and I give my all, so I can't do it half-assed, as we'd say in the States. It's all or nothing. So Meandering the Seasons is just a private online group where I just give tips every day and ideas and thoughts and expressions. Maybe I'll write an article, maybe I'll put up some inspirational music, maybe I'll pose a question, just sort of trying to get the group involved in thinking about relationships. And again, I don't really talk about much business in that one. I have touched on it, but it's been mostly personal relationships.
Okay. That sounds interesting. Thank you. Thanks very much for that, Michelle.
You're very welcome. Join. Don't forget to. I'm going to be looking for you, Stephanie.
Okay. I can't escape now, can I? Resistance is futile and all that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you very much for your question. Anybody else? Don't be shy.
Last chance to put your hand up if you want to ask a question. while we have Michelle's attention.
No? Okay.
Okay, well, Michelle, I want to thank you very much for today's presentation. It's absolutely fantastic. And I want to thank the audience for being, for their contribution and their attention. And I want to wish you all a wonderful evening.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for listening and joining. And again, I just put up my notes of where you can contact me should you want to reach me offline. That's perfectly fine as well. Thank you. Thank you for your time. It's been wonderful.
Take care, guys. Bye now.
Take care. Have a good evening, everyone.